What's up? This your man Drake Mac coming to you again with another video. This particular video, I'm actually gonna go over and cover Black Panther 2099 from the Marvel Lifeline. But the real question is, are you ready? Alright, so this is very new to me, so please, I'm not trying to be like Rob from Comics Explained. Rob is completely awesome, but I've noticed nobody has ever talked about this Marvel Nice line for 2099, which is Black Panther 2099. Maybe because it's only one comic and that's all you got out of this complete run. So that's probably the reason why this comic has never been talked about, but it actually just gives you an epilogue at the beginning of the comic, which just talks about the state of New York and the state of the world at that particular time. They brought back the Mutant Registration Act that actually had a lot of heroes and villains either murdered, or they were sent into exile, or they were sent to jail because of that. So there's no Fantastic Four, there's no Spider-Man in this particular portion of the universe. There's none of that. So this is kind of like really crazy just to actually wrap your mind around that you have this whole era of superheroes and stuff like that, and at this particular time there was no superheroes, or at least if they were very much hidden or underground, because a lot of them has been killed or thrown in jail. So this is really crazy, but this is written by Robert Kirkman. So the actual comic starts off with Dr. Doom. You actually see Liberia, you see Castle Doom, and you see Dr. Doom coming in. He's asking for Lucien, which is one of his minions in there, and you see Doom just looks horrible. He looks old, he's done, but Lucien actually, you know, gives him his actual mask, the Doom mask, and he says, one Doom, one legacy, one Doom, one legacy, and then boom, did you just see the whole entire person is just, I mean, completely disintegrated. So one of his minions comes through and just asks him, you know, are you up, or is everything all good? And he was just telling them, yeah, I'm happy, you know what I'm saying, I'm recovered from the invasion and stuff like that, and you know, just let you know that this guy, he had to go. You know, Lucien defied everything for me, he had to go. And he was telling his new the new guy was like, hey, make sure you clean up all this mess. So now you actually go into Wakanda, and you actually get this little montage of this warrior. It looks like this warrior in the jungle fighting against an actual Black Panther, and you hear a epilogue from him to, you know, this actually just talking about how the Panther sees me, I see him, you know, our muscles collide, you know, we're both aware what must be done. Everything is inevitable. Golly, I can't even talk. Inevitable. So you actually kind of get this. This is actually kind of neat, because what it does is actually sets up a lot of what you see in the actual plot of this actual comic. So he's monologuing, talking about how the Panther is ripping at his flesh and how he bites him and everything, and the Panther devours him, and that he's actually welcome, you know, that the Panther actually eats him. And then you wake up and you're actually now with the Kashama. Kashama is actually a council member in the Wakanda council, and he's actually being called right now to an emergency that he needs to go. So he leaves his wife Matola at the time, so he could go and actually talk with the council. So now you actually go to Wakanda, you go to the Capitol building, and you have this big meeting of the minds of all the leaders of Wakanda, and Kashama's with them, and they start talking about, you know, the awareness of the state of Wakanda at this particular time. Now the crazy part about this is that there's no T'Challa. T'Challa's gone. He passed away, but he never actually had any type of bloodline to actually carry on his mantle. And again, it just at the state of this actual comic, this is completely different. There's no Shuri, there's no marriage to Storm, there's no kids, there's no nothing. In this particular storyline, Black Panther had no descendants. So a lot of the state of Wakanda was in shambles because they were looking at that royal family to be able to take over and not only rule Wakanda and make sure that what's best for Wakanda, but there is no Black Panther at all. So, Kashama, during this whole thing, Kashama's kind of upset because they're trying to, talk to him about, hey, we need a new ruler. We need we need a king. We need a Black Panther. There's going to be uprising around here if we don't get that done. And Kashama just lashes out at him like, are you trying to give me a history lesson or something? But they're trying to propose something so the actual country can be able to thrive. And this is after T'Challa's death. So then next thing you know, boom, Doombots just come through crashing down inside of the council, and they're going at it. Doombox is beating the brakes off of everybody. Kashama is just, it's trying as much to launch his attack, but, the council is like, hey, they're trying to get our vibranium deposit. So they're trying to fight up the horde, but they can't. So they actually succumb and actually get, they actually surrender to the Doombots. So in the next panel, actually what you see is that the Doombots has taken over all of Wakanda now. And it actually says it took them 6 weeks to actually take over everything in Wakanda. So now Doom and his Doombots actually rule Wakanda at this time. So you see in the next panel, Kashama actually escapes from the dungeon that they had so he could be able to check on his wife Matola, which is, again, Matola's pregnant at this time. So he would just let them know that they were keeping the council in front of dungeons or whatever, but they released them, basically after they signed over the country to Doom. And it was his time, and now he's looking at, it's time for war, it's time to do something about this, but I must get my family out of here first. Go look for food, go look for shelter. So as they go and look for shelter and go look for food, one of the Doombots just, rise up on him and say, hey, I'm going to take you into custody or whatever. And he's pleading to him, say, hey, my wife is pregnant, I'm just looking for food for my wife. And then bam, you see the shot come through, and you see one of the resistors come through on a motorcycle, and says, hey, the Doombots are probably going to detect us, so, we'll get you food and shelter, where we're at. So the resistance is actually now getting Kashama with them so they could be able to take back over their country. So in the next panel, you actually see that they have an organization of refugees right now. There was incarcerated that actually now is mounting up ever since Doom took over the country. Now they're mounting up to build a resistance and to be able to fight the Doombots so they can be able to get their country back. So the next panel is just ass kicking galore. You see Kashama going at these Doombots real bad. And it looks like now Kashama is actually becoming a leader of the resistance. So you see 1 week later they're battling Doombox. 2 weeks later they're battling Doombox. 3 weeks later, and now one of the elders is saying that, look, you always been a leader. I'm too old to lead. Go ahead and lead the people. So in week 4 they're on the attack again against these Doombox. Now remember, at the beginning of the actual series, it took Doom 6 weeks to be able to take over Wakanda. Now we're in week number 4, and the resistance is getting a little bit of edge over these Doombots. So again, they're trying to just they're trying to liberate themselves in this fight. And I actually like the artwork on here because in the 5 weeks, and you see Kashama going at Doombox. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, this is completely badass because all you see is just wreckage and carnage and Doomboxes fighting against the resistance and stuff like that, and you just see them just going at it. It's actually pretty good. Now the funniest part of this is that you go back and you see Doom is in Wakanda, and he's looking over at all the wreckage, and he says, this is not going to plan. Which, when I first read that, I absolutely cracked up because I thought that was completely hilarious. Just thinking of Doom saying, this is not going the way that I wanted to go. So now You have on the next panel you see Keshava. He's getting the people together, and he's, you know, giving that great hero speech. You know, we need to mount the attack. We need to do what we need to do. You know, this is something that we, you know, to be able to get our country back, we need to mount the biggest assault possible. Who is with me? They got the resistance with you, with them. And now you see one of the elders was like, hey, I've been, you know, holding this on for somebody, but, you know, this is time for a new warrior and new king. And he hands him over a box. And the elder is telling them, I can't think of anybody more worthy than you. And then he opens up the box and sees the Black Panther mask. And that's when the first panel, when he was fighting the actual Black Panther, this is where this comes into play, because now he's being devoured with the responsibility of being the Black Panther. So now that he's being imbued with the black, you know, with the power of the Black Panther, you see some of the kids like, look, on that building, he's back. And now you see Kashama, you know, donning the Black Panther outfit, mounting the assault against all the Doom bots and the resistance, and that's what, you know, this particular character need. That's what the people needed. You know, one of the elders was saying that they needed a symbol to be able to fight against Doom and the resistance, and it was exactly what they got when Kashama donned the Black Panther. And he launched a all-out assault along with the other Wakandans to be able to push Doom out of Wakanda in this particular time. And it said it did not take us 6 weeks to drive Doom's forces out of Wakanda, but they got all of Doom forces out of Wakanda. So you see the people are kneeling before Kashama, the new Black Panther, the new king. He is now king of Wakanda. And you go back to Liberia, where Dr. Doom is talking to one of his minions and said, you know, my flag is no longer flying over Wakanda, you know, but don't think that I don't have influence on there, you know, because Doom is kind of a narcissist. So he's saying, don't think I don't have, you know, people there. Don't think I don't have influence there. And he says, can you hear me, Kashama? And Kashama says, no, sire, I cannot. And his wife is looking at him and saying, who are you speaking to? He says, you know, I said nothing, Matola. I said nothing at all, with his young son next to him. And that is the end of the comic. And the crazy part about this comic is that we never knew anything about the Black Panther 2099, because literally it's just one comic. And I think it's actually a fantastic comic, and something that, you know, if they would explore a little bit more on it, you know, in this post-T'Challa war, how would Kashama be a king? How can he be a warrior? How can he be a husband? How can he be able to, you know, besides being a Black Panther, how can you unite all the kingdoms together to be able to push Wakanda into the future? All right, this is your man Dre Mac. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to this video. Make sure that you hit the bell notification so you don't miss any of my videos. And if you like this, please comment below if you want me to do more of these. Until next time, I'll see you later. Peace and vibe higher.